What's happening in it? J Game Dude here, and I'm going to be looking at and reacting to the Silent Hill F trailer. And one thing I like about these trailers that have been coming out recently, especially for games that I'm really interested in, is they're fairly lengthy trailers. Say, for example, something like the Death Stranding 2 trailer, which was a straight up like 10-minute trailer that felt like it was throwing a lot at us. And so here we have the Silent Hill F trailer, which is about 3.5 minutes long. But just before we kind of jump into it, it's probably best to just double check with where we are now with Silent Hill. So the fact of the matter is that Silent Hill has largely been not a franchise that has released any new games since Silent Hill Book of Memories on the PS Vita, which was a god-awful isometric game. And basically, from that point, they've now tried, as of recent memory, or within the past couple of years, to try and bring back Silent Hill in a big way. So, a couple of things that they've done is Silent Hill, the short message, which was basically supposed to be the Silent Hills demo was supposed to be in the form of Silent Hill, the short message. That kind of sucks. But yeah, anyway, so we got PT from Kojima, and ultimately that was an incredible piece of playable gameplay that ultimately was the teaser for Silent Hills, like I just said. And the short message was an incredibly poorly done version of that, a copycat that just could not hold a candle to what was effectively being done there. We then got these Silent Hill transmission that ended up dropping that short message the same day that the transmission was, but also we got the sort of Silent Hill choose your own adventure type of thing that was going on. That was absolutely god awful. And then we got Silent Hill remake by Bloober Team. And because it was Bloober Team that was developing it, we were all very, very cautious that we don't think this was actually going to be particularly good. Thank goodness, however, that it turned out to be absolutely glorious. So with all that being said, Silent Hill 2 Remake did exceptionally well. The two other projects that they released didn't do so well. And now we have ourselves Silent Hill F, which is probably the most exciting thing to have come out from that first Silent Hill transmission. And with another Silent Hill transmission this year, we got this official trailer. So let's actually sit down and react. And I have seen a little bit of the trailer, but I wanted to kind of watch all of it while reacting to what is going on. So let's just jump right on into it. I feel like this already, like from an immediate point of view, this feels very Japanese horror, because the scariest thing in Japanese horror is going to be little girls. Like, I don't know why that's the case, but when it comes to like hauntings or anything like that, you can look at stuff like The Grudge, for example, or Ju-on the Grudge. And then you can look at stuff like Fatal Frame, for example. Like, it's always, these sorts of bloodied eyes. I feel like a very solid example is what Siren was. Siren and Siren Blood Curse on the PS3, which definitely took a lot of inspiration from Silent Hill, but made it very Japanese. But I think we're not going, like, it feels like we're not going to be having a Western named protagonist like we had with Silent Hill 2, 3, and 1 effectively. Oh, and we had Henry Townsend for Silent Hill 4, so I guess it is what it is. So we've got sort of like this sort of countryside town, a bit of a mansion as well. And then we see like a schoolgirl looking off into the distance, but there's also like a sort of fog around. And if there's one thing that Silent Hill is known for, it's for the fact that there's always been an other world. Where it's either like this normal foggy town, and then the other world is like this very dark, cold, dirty place that always has walls that are rotting with everything covered in blood and rust, and it's all very sort of brown, red, and white, the walls usually. So I wonder how they're going to keep to Silent Hill tradition. What is this other world going to look like in Silent Hill F? how is the fog going to play into what's going on? Because the idea of the fog is to blind the vision of the player character and the player effectively, so you don't know what is actually on the other side. So having like a long field of vision has always kind of been a weakness to... It's pretty much fear of the unknown or fear of the unexpected. And you might think that sounds like more of a jump scare, but that isn't... That's part of it, but there's a little bit more to it, because there's existential dread that there is always going to be something around the next corner. But I think, like, say, for example, with the Silent Hill 2 remake, they had way too many mannequins coming at you. The enemies, the creatures, the scares need to pace themselves accordingly. They just can't keep constantly running at you. And this, I feel like there's a lot of, like, also story being mentioned with, like, the characters' kind of dialogue here. So she's kind of looking around this sort of foggy area, but when she was, like, snapped out of, like... Ooh, okay. So you see something kind of dead on the ground and kind of crushed almost. The town is very empty, still filled with fog. A weird-looking creature? Ah, okay. So it looks like a sort of, not a mutated, but like a disfigured person, but kind of zombified in a way. We see red flowers, so I'm sure like these flowers are representative of some sort of theme that they're going to be tackling throughout the story. Of course, we've got, you know, tight areas, tight corners that we're going to need to kind of reach through, and I suppose being sort of a high school girl, it's going to be a lot easier to kind of go through those areas, because you are usually going to be either short and quite skinnier to be able to go through those smaller, hard to reach areas. Okay, wait. So, looking at all of these plants, the sort of growth, it feels like it's taking some inspiration from how fungi grow. So I did have like a sort of a little jolt of inspiration from The Last of Us to some extent. And of course we did see like, you know, a creepy face as well. Cool. And so like that sort of face that we saw, that like, you know, creepy ass looking face, that feels like something that you would see in a Fatal Frame game. And that's where like it feels like it's very Japanese horror-esque, is that fear of the unknown, that thing might be around. So how long is Hinako going to be in this town? And this town doesn't feel like it is Silent Hill. I feel like it's somewhere else, because not all Silent Hill games take place in Silent Hill necessarily. We've got some sort of like art, we've got, you know, shrines. Because the thing is that shrines also can enshrine curses as well. Because the idea of like using, say for example, these sort of like, not tags, but like, how would I explain them? I'm actually going to stop my train of thought there, because I've forgotten exactly what word it is, but it's used like as stickers on pillars outside of a shrine to keep evil spirits and demons out of reach of other people outside of the shrine, and keeping them trapped within, so that no one can go out of their way. Like no demons can go out to threaten those that are outside. So I feel like there's that aspect to it. Again, creepy looking creature again. Time is running out. The fact that you're alive means you've made it here, yet you're still lost all the same. So it's very much talking around the issues that the main character is having. And again, I suppose another thing worth talking about with Silent Hill is that most, if not all, Silent Hill games are basically the main character has lost something, and they need to go to Silent Hill to find what they have lost. Usually. That hasn't always been the case. So I could absolutely see them kind of doing something a little bit different, rather than looking for something that this character has lost. I mean, it could also be a feeling. It doesn't need to be like a person, say with Silent Hill 2, for example. She looks like she's been through a lot. But okay, now this table very much feels like it's reminiscent of Resident Evil 7. So it also now makes me wonder, what is the gameplay of Silent Hill F going to be? Is it going to be third person over the shoulder? Is it going to be first person, like what they tried to do with the short message and what was, I think, successfully done with PT? I feel like there's a lot you can kind of do with that. I don't think there's going to be any weapons at all. Like, you don't know what's going on, okay. Think about it. I could have killed you off at any time. So, it looks like we will be wielding weapons as well. If, like, that last few seconds is anything to go by. And then we get, you know, the Silent Hill F trailer. So we've got, you know, Shrine Maidens in a shrine. And our main character here. And then a knife. Going into her eye, I think. And then kind of just, like, the main character's face kind of peeling off a little. Did we get anything else? Nope. Okay, so let me just get rid of the annotations. But basically, Silent Hill F is coming out on PS5, Xbox Series S and X, Steam, Epic Games Store, and basically Windows Store, I would imagine. So all three main platforms, I would say, on PC, as well as PS5 and Xbox Series S and X. Made with Unreal, cool. I like the art that they've kind of got going on as well. Main character with the pipe that she picked up at the end of the trailer and the red plant that's kind of growing off to the sides and reaching out to her. So I'm very, very curious as to what the story is going to be. Again, while story hasn't been the strong point of Silent Hill games, they've been fine for the most part. I think the game that suffered the most from having a very, very poor... Actually, you know what? No, I'm gonna stop saying that sentence, because a lot of Silent Hill games have actually done a very poor job with their story. I said poorly done, you know, story, because you can look at, say, something like Silent Hill Homecoming. You could look at Silent Hill Shattered Memories. Silent Hill Shattered Memories was a good idea. It was just kind of implemented poorly from a gameplay perspective, because you can keep running away from something, but if you never know what that thing is that you're running from, the existential dread turns into confusion. Whereas with something like Silent Hill 2 Remake, you're shoving too many mannequins at the player character, and eventually they just kind of get used to it, or just straight up bloody tired of it. Again, you want to pace yourself accordingly, and I think that's where Silent Hill 2 and 3 really do kind of shine. It's just that, and Silent Hill 4 does everything well, except for the fact that it was just really crap gameplay, especially in the second half, where you effectively do an escort mission. So, I hope there's a lot of lessons that can be learned from prior Silent Hill games to really be able to push this one together. So I hope they learn the good lessons of each game, and actually be able to make an excellent Silent Hill game. I really, really hope so. I'm still a little bit tepid. I'm interested in what I've seen. So let's just kind of see where all of this goes ultimately. But with all that being said, however, let me know what you guys think about all of this in the comments below. Like the video if you liked it. Subscribe to the channel. I'm aiming for 500 subs by the end of the year. And let me know, are you interested in Silent Hill F? Do you like horror games? Where do you kind of fall on all these? Because I can personally say I'm definitely interested in horror games. Because as you can kind of like hear everything that I'm talking about with like these prior Silent Hill games, I do play a lot of them. I think the only ones I haven't played are Silent Hill 1. Because when I had my PS1, I never had a physical copy of the game. And nor did I ever bother going back to it. And I think Downpour is the only other game I haven't played besides the Pachinko games, but that doesn't really interest me all that much. But yeah, with all that being said, like I said, let me know, comments, like the video if you liked it, subscribe, 500 by the end of the year. I do upload every day, so I'll see you guys tomorrow.